Situated in Central Asia, stunning Uzbekistan is a landlocked country that shares borders with Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Turkmenistan. Throughout history set along the ancient Silk Road, it has served as the meeting point for multiple austere Persian and Turkic regimes, culture, Russian civilization, and Islam, allowing different cultures to mix. It is rather remote, but still, one cannot deny that the heritage of Uzbekistan is profound, the traditions rich, architecture beautiful, and people welcoming. One can, with a single sight, marvel at the blue-tiled mosques of Samarkand, roam through the mesmerizing bazaars of Tashkent, and cover almost every nook and cranny of the region's landmarks. Uzbekistan is one of the cornerstones of history in this part of the world, and its ongoing recuperation is evident with its merging remains of ancient glory, with hope-fueled drive of modern times. The country has a population of over 36 million, which is the largest in Central Asia. With most people being less than 30, the country has a young population which deeply affects culture, supplied workforce, and education systems. The largest ethnicity are Uzbeks. However, Russians, Tajiks, Kazakhs, and Karakalpaks also populate the country due to its complicated past. The capital city, Tashkent, is home to more than 2.5 million people and is also the cultural and business hub of the nation. Some other major cities are Samarkand, Bukhara, and Andijan, which also have a rich history and are known for being distinct from each other. Economic growth on its own is leading to increased migration from rural areas as well as growing urban economies. Uzbekistan's geographic features include several elementary sets which relate to the Central Asian melting pot. The dry Kizilkum Desert makes up the main part of the territory, covering 447,000 square kilometers. To the southwest lies Fergana Valley, the breadbasket of the county, which has lush agricultural growth. The arched Sterny Tian Shan ridges tower over to the east of the valley, where they provide cool temperatures for comfortable hiking trails. Formerly nourishing the now shrinking Aral Sea is the Amu Darya and Sir Darya rivers, which served the mark of environmental neglect during the Soviet Union. Although being surrounded on land, Uzbekistan is parched and ecotourism is supported, featuring cotton farming. Uzbekistan also strives in military manufacturing. The ocean continental climate of Uzbekistan is extreme, having hot summers exceeding 40 degrees Celsius and cold winter temperatures falling below 0 degrees. Foreign trade was a prominent activity in Uzbekistan off and on during the times of ancient kingdoms of Samarkand and Bukhara. Major trade pathways between the east and west pass through this country. Uzbekistan, due to its strategic geographical position, attracted numerous travelers and explorers across different ages. Uzbekistan was home to the great Persian, Arabian, and Mongol empires. Timur, in the 1300s, laid the foundation of the Uzbekistan Empire stretching from Bukhara to modern-day Turkey. After the king's death, the Persian Empire conquered it, later being invaded further down the line. Modern-day remnants of Uzbekistan, built years after its liberation from the USSR, break the stereotypes of a desolate country and appear to me as the charming graphical sights I will never get tired of. They differ and are astonishing on every viewpoint. The Uzbek economy is awash with agricultural and natural resources, which serves as a basis for development in the country and international trade. The country has substantial reserves of natural gas, gold, uranium, copper, and mining, which makes mining a vital economic sector. Cotton, commonly referred to by the name of white gold, remains a vital agricultural product. However, reforms have started to reduce the environmental impact. In recent times, the government has pursued economic liberalization by attracting foreign investment as well as diversifying into sectors like tourism, textiles, and automobile manufacturing. Despite these changes, issues like unemployment, especially among young people, as well as rural poverty remain. But cost of living is fairly low, as economic changes are slowly improving living standards in both rural and urban areas. Schooling is free during the basic and secondary stages in Uzbekistan, and its technical and vocational levels are constantly being advanced. Primary and secondary education is free of charge, and the general overview emphasizes vocational training. This phenomenon is particularly important for Uzbekistan because enrollment rates across the Central Asia region are not as high as needed for socioeconomic progress. The existing system of education in Uzbekistan is prescribed by the law and strands into different levels, such as primary, secondary, and higher education. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Uzbekistan inherited one of the best structured systems of education from the Soviets, with literacy above 99% and most citizens with a secondary or higher degree. The gap between urban and rural educational opportunities is diminishing, although significant disparities still exist. During the last years, the government allowed foreign secondary education establishments to cooperate with local institutions, significantly improving the educational offer. In accordance with the laws of business evolution, foreign languages, science, science, and new specialties are being introduced into the schooling system as a policy tool for the country's further modernization. Along with limitless access of the general population to education, as well as new kinds of educational institutions, vocational guidance, and other allied difficulties persist. Moreover, innovations in flexible schooling systems expand alongside the imbalanced online-offline paradigm of attending classes. Uzbek culture, customs, and family networks are defining features of life in Uzbekistan, as is the blending of the old and new. Residents of cities live in apartments or modern houses, whereas suburbs are still home to traditional clay houses. Members of extended families tend to reside together or in close proximity to one another, which promotes intact social units. Daily activities consist of sharing meals with family, going to work, socializing, and attending events. The work week is usually 6 days with time off highly appreciated. Weekends in particular are reserved for family excursions, tea gatherings, and local celebrations. Social norms place emphasis on kindness towards guests while valuing respect towards one's elders. Urban centers tend to shift towards progressive attitudes, especially among the youth, in stark contrast to rural areas where older towns tend to maintain customary gender divisions. Uzbekistan is quickly becoming one of the most popular countries to visit in Central Asia, and tourism in the country is growing continuously. Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva are famous Islamic architecture cities, known for their astonishing ancient mosques, palaces, and Islamic architectural madrasas. Most of these places are UNESCO World Heritage sites, which are like time machines for tourists. Along with cultural tourism, there is ecotourism in mountains and deserts, adventure tourism like hiking and yurt camping, and traditional food tourism at local markets. Tourists are allowed to take part in local festivals, which along with handicraft fairs, gives glimpse of true Uzbek life. Uzbekistan is known as the hidden jewel of the Silk Road, and infrastructure development, along with visa reforms, have made traveling easier. Uzbekistan for locals and tourists alike is arguably one of the safer countries in the region. Violent crime is lower than the global average, and the crime rate overall is low by comparison to other countries. Inhabitants of cities and tourist areas do report a relative sense of safety, as law enforcement actively helps to maintain public order. Pickpocketing is a relatively low risk in heavily populated areas. The nation cares about safeguarding tourists and has therefore put dire measures in place to protect those visiting the region. Scams are performed on occasion, but tourists are warned to be careful of unlicensed tour guides and open-air markets. Externally, Uzbekistan residents enjoy peaceful everyday life, which is strongly supported by the community's safety net. The hot, dry summers and sharply cold winters are defining features of Uzbekistan's continental climate. Summer can reach over 40 degrees C in desert regions, peaking during July and August, which makes it the most blistering season. Meanwhile, winters are also excruciatingly cold, with snowfall in the mountainous regions. Spring and fall are Uzbekistan's most picturesque seasons, where temperatures are mild and vegetation is flourishing. From the architecture of homes as well as courtyards, thick mud walls for irrigation, the climate heavily impacts daily life. Domestic tourism is at its highest in the spring and fall, when exploring historical sites as well as natural sites is most comfortable. With quite the harsh seasons, Uzbekistan's life is in harmony with its climate.